today I want to do a video on the relationship or lack thereof between civilian firearm ownership and domestic violence in Canada. And the reason why this is so important to me and why it seems to be so important to the anti-gun crowd or the pro-gun control crowd is that during the passage of Bill C-19, so that was the bill to end the long gun registry, as that was making its way through the House and then eventually was in the Senate, I did watch all those Senate hearings, and I was quite impacted by that because you had a lot of testimony on the pro-gun side, or a pro-gun control side, pardon me, from women's groups and victims organizations and so-called public safety experts. And the women's groups and the safety experts, their assertion was that if the long gun registry was ended, it would impact the safety of women and families in Canada. And that's a really strong assertion, and I have a family, and two of them happen to be women, so I'm interested in the safety of women also. And so what I did was, unlike most Canadians, I sat down and I spent a few hours reading. And all the information, oddly enough, was right there at my fingertips. I went into Stats Canada's website, and I found this report, and it's called The Family Violence in Canada, a Statistical Profile 2010. And you can download the PDF. So let's have a look at what the real facts on domestic violence and its relationship to guns is, at least in Canada. So let's look at page 38, chart 2.8, victims of intimate and non-intimate partner homicide by cause of death. So this is an important chart for us because we can see how often when people are killed in spousal disputes, how often are they killed by a firearm, right? Because that seems to be the big problem. Let's check. So you have stabbing, beatings, shooting, strangulation, suffocation, drowning, all that stuff. And here, if we look at shooting, 21% of the time in 2010 by a firearm. What does that tell you? That tells you that 79, almost 80%, basically 80% of the time, people didn't use a gun. And imagine how many guns were available. Who even knows? You know, some people think that 5 million Canadians possess guns today. And there's 2 million of us that have licenses for them. 5 million, maybe even more. So there's a lot of guns out there. So how many people is that? Well, 86 people died in spousal homicide in 2010, and 21% of that is 18 people. Now, if that's your mother or your sister or your daughter, it's serious business. If it was mine, it would be serious business too. But here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I am okay, this is my idea, I'm a little weird like that. I'm okay if someone hurts my family like that, for all the responsibility for that act to be put on the shoulders of the person that did it. But right now, with gun control and proposed additional gun control measures and the preservation of the gun control that we have today, basically here's the net effect. When a gangster shoots up a mall in downtown Toronto, the responsibility for that shooting, for that crime, is spread evenly across the shoulders of every gun owner in Canada. And let's look at another table. Table 2.5, this is victims of police-reported violent crime by intimate and non-intimate partners and the most serious weapon present. So this is people that are in situations of domestic violence where a weapon either isn't present, or if it is, what percentage of the time was it a certain weapon? So let's look. Victims of spousal violence, firearm, 1% of the time. I mean, we're talking 48,000 known incidents. 1% of the time there was a firearm present in this offense. Victims of dating violence, firearm, 1%. Victims of intimate partner violence, firearm, 1%. 1%. And in fact, if you pulled out the calculator and you were dedicated enough, all the numbers are here, and you worked all the numbers backwards, they rounded up to 1%. So, don't confuse me with the facts. Yeah, I think I will. If the facts are confusing for most people that are anti-gun or pro-gun control, I'm sorry that it's confusing for you. But the facts are here. It's the government's own numbers. So if you're one of these people that have been rallying for gun control because you thought it was the right thing, I understand. Intuitively, it feels like, yeah, I don't want anybody to get shot either. I have guns. And I don't want to shoot anybody. In fact, it's my plan to never shoot another human being as long as I live. That's my plan. So we're on the same side. So I'm going to leave you with this. You have to be very careful about statistics. I was looking on the Coalition for Gun Control website tonight. Their site has been down all day. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they have such a lack of support they can't even keep the site up anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised, because somewhere on that site, and yeah, I'm telling you right now, I don't have the real numbers because I couldn't get on there. But I remember seeing something, and right now I'm going to put the real numbers if I can find them here. If not, they're not going to be there. And I will put the link in the description box. But there was some statistic like 70% of the firearms used in spousal violence are long guns. So you guys know what the real numbers here are, right? Okay, spousal homicide, like 18 people with a firearm. So now they throw out statistics like 77%. And of course, to you and I, we're like, 77% long guns. We need a long gun. We need to do something about long guns. Think of 77%. But you're like, 77% of what? So those are the questions you need to ask yourself, because I can play the same game. How about 100% of gun crimes involve the use of a firearm? 100%. So, I mean, you know, anyway, I think all I'm trying to say is be a little more of a discerning Canadian. Gun control and laws like this that victimize regular people that are the guardians of this country, they're the strong people that can stand up and go, no, I'm not going to let anything happen to my neighbor, or I'm not going to, you know, dictate to somebody else how to live their lives. These are the good Canadians, right? I was born here, and I kind of like Canada, to be honest with you, and I don't want to see this erosion between citizens. I don't want to see the erosion of the social contract that's going on right now. I don't want to see the erosion of the relationship between civilians and law enforcement, civilians and government, civilians and the Crown. I don't want to see that. So that's why I'm making the effort to make videos like this.